from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, July 9th. So today we have the moon in Aries energy, and we are building towards our last quarter moon of this lunar cycle that will be taking place in Aries energy. That will be very, very late in the day, our last aspect of the day. So today is also the last day of Mars, who rules over that Aries energy, being in Leo energy. We are preparing to make a shift, and Mars will actually be moving into Virgo energy. You can go ahead, listen to that astro forecast that I put out there, or get your Cancer season e-guide out, really capture the vibes, the energy, the topics, the themes, the focus that you're currently kind of fixated on as we move into this Virgo energy. So we have a lot of, I'm going to say, tension building because Mars and the Aries energy, they have a lot of fire in them. They have this want, need, and desire to take action, to act on impulse, to take a risk, so to speak. But of course, we're not in the particular stage of this particular chapter where we can take the actions and make the moves that we want to make. That is coming. Mars being in Virgo energy will definitely show us the path on what needs to be done, and we will see a high level of progress and productivity come out of this transit. But right now, especially with the last quarter moon in Aries, trying to bring everything full circle, trying to identify what we have to cut the cord with, trying to identify what we have to close the door on, the Mars energy reaching those final degrees in Leo is definitely going to have some heart activations pop off. And let's hope that it is all in the best way, which is creative, inspiration, motivation, all of that type of energy, because we want to roar like the lion. We want to be proud and bold and brave and courageous, kind of leaving this energy behind. But what we could find is that we're overwhelmed, we're restless, we're agitated, and therefore become the scared little kitten instead of the proud lion. So we want to manage our energies as efficiently as we possibly can here today, which is going to be semi-challenging just because Mars and the Aries energy tends to burn ourselves out long before we ever see the end goal, the goal post, if you will. So we want to be very cautiously aware of our energies. So there are 10 different aspects here today. 8 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon in this Aries energy is going to interact with Mars. Mars rules over this Aries energy, and as I previously mentioned, Mars is completing the last and final degrees of this Leo energy. Now, this is going to trigger us in all the best ways. We have a new want, new need, new desire coming into the realm of our awareness. We have new inspirations, new motivations, really helping to build up our determination, our willpower. This is us getting all riled up in all the right ways in order for us to focus our energy, our attention on what needs to be done, what needs to be brought to life, what it is that we want to pursue. And of course, these are all coming from the very real, raw, vulnerable place in our heart space that we have been trying to really get in alignment with over the last couple of weeks of having Mars be in this Leo energy. The moon will then interact with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who rules over roles and responsibilities, systems, structures. We are definitely retrograde in this Pisces energy with Mr. Saturn. And because of that, there are endings and closures that need to come into play here, especially where our belief system is concerned. The moon in Aries wants to close the door on the past, wants to burn the bridge, wants to cut the cord, wants to rip the rearview mirror off. And Saturn, who needs us to take a logical and practical approach on how it is that we are closing doors and cutting cords, really needs us to understand that we do have to boss up. We have to really understand where it is that we have to mature, where it is that we have to rise to the occasion, to new roles and responsibilities, a new way of thinking, a new way of acting, and therefore letting the past go. The moon will then semi-square, a little bit of a tension and a conflict, with Uranus. Uranus is the great awakener in this Taurus energy, is showing us where it is that we're overly attached to our physical realm, to routines, to relationships, to money matters, to possessions, and where it is that holding on to some of those particular topics and themes is actually preventing us from moving on, from growing, from healing. So we, in this moon Aries energy, are really just wanting to cut the cords. And all of this stuff is coming up. Whatever we're kind of agitated about, frustrated about, especially in our physical circumstances, that would be a good indicator that we have to change this. We have to transform it into something more tolerable. And the moon in Aries gives us this warrior type of spirit to just kind of quickly say, okay, that's not working. Let's cut it off, or let's change it up. Let's improve it. This is going to be an aha moment. There is going to be an epiphany on, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to close the door, ready to walk away. I'm ready to change it up. I'm ready to improve. I'm ready to progress. And just like that, spontaneous change is actually achievable with this particular energy, really encouraging us to make those moves. Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our passion, our drive, our desire, even our anger, is going to be making an interaction with Pluto, the great transformer, who is retrograde in this Capricorn energy. This is going to stir the pot. Okay, this is going to create a tension. We are going to be on edge. We're going to have a little bit of anxiety. We may actually even experience thoughts or feelings of anger, of agitation, of being challenged. And the whole point of this is to recognize where the anger and frustration is showing us where we have to make the change the most, the fastest, the quickest. This is going to be a challenging energy because we don't know what the right answer is. Again, Pluto in this Capricorn energy, especially retrograde, is a reflection, a redo, a second chance at collapsing, disassembling, deconstructing some of the systems, foundations, routines, relationships, structures that essentially aren't working for us anymore. So we have to be frustrated and agitated while we do some of these things, or we think about some of these things, in order to illuminate for us where it is that we've outgrown these things, where it is that we need to close the door on them, where it is that we need to walk away from them. So this is going to be a very particular type of energy that isn't going to make us feel very good. We have to avoid trying to force solutions. We have to try to not, push our thoughts, push our ideas on other people, because we're not going to see it be well received. We want to take a calmer approach, where this energy wants us to kind of be a little bit forceful with what needs to be done, what needs to be changed, what needs to be rearranged. The moon is then going to interact with Venus. Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money, in the heart and soul of the zodiac in Leo energy. This is going to be an illumination on what needs to die, what needs to burn, what we want to initiate, what we want to create, where there's an excitement, where there's a passion, where there is a joy. This is really going to be a lot of focus on mostly relationships and money matters at this point in time. And again, just keep in the back of your mind that Venus is slowing down each and every single day. She will be going retrograde on the 22nd of July, which is going to be a major, major shift for us, especially where relationships are concerned. But this little interaction, if you will, is just trying to identify what isn't working and what it is that we would like to create in the space of the things that we know that we have to deconstruct and kind of let go. The moon is then going to interact with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings. This is a firehouse energy. We are just getting all riled up. We are optimistic. We are confident. We are just feeling like anything is possible. We feel the energy just building, the fire building within us to want to take action, to want to make moves, to want to go out there and create something new for ourselves. This is definitely the hype energy that we need. It's just going to feel a little bit, I'm going to say overwhelming, because the energy and actions, the moves that we want to make, aren't being made right now. So we have to kind of contain this energy, if you will, in order for us to come up with a plan, come up with a strategy, and exert our energy in all the best ways to see these opportunities actually manifest. The moon is then going to interact in a positive way with Pluto. Again, Pluto is retrograde in this Capricorn energy. Lucky for us, this is a beautiful energy between the moon and Pluto, which means that this is an emotional transformation. We are getting hyped up, cutting the cord, closing the door on whatever aspects we've been sitting in a funk about. This is us bossing up. This is us empowering ourselves. This is us taking the funk and turning it into flair. This is taking the pain, turning it into power. This is taking the darkness, and this is showing it a brand new light. And of course, the change and transformation needs to happen in our inner realm long before we see it happen in our outer realm. And emotionally speaking, the Aries energy just has us in this warrior type of mentality, this warrior type of attitude, where we're not going to let anything bother us. We're not letting anything kind of block us or hold us back. And we are willing to change and transform at a very fast rate if it means that we get on the path and in the direction that our heart and soul needs us to be on. The moon will then interact with Mars in not the nicest way, and interacting with the ruler of the energy that the moon is currently in, typically speaking, brings a very strong intensity to our experiences. So this isn't going to be motivating. It's likely not going to be that inspiring. What it is likely going to manifest is impulse and agitation and edginess and restless, because we have an idea, we have a motivation, we're building up, in our inner realm, who we have to be, what we have to do. We're kind of, getting all the wheels a spinning here, but yet in our physical realms, we don't have any action or moves to make right now. We want to, we just don't have the opportunity to do so. So then Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of communication and information, trines, which is a beautiful energy with Neptune. Neptune, of course, just retrograded in its place of power in the Pisces energy. Mercury is in Cancer energy, so there's some water on water action here. Water on water action is very purifying, very cleansing, very transforming. It is emotional, it is intuitive, but emotionally and intuitively speaking, that's where change needs to happen first and foremost. What this is going to do is it's going to open up our mind space, open up our imagination, really turn the volume all the way up on our intuition, really kind of put us in a situation where we're trying to make some decisions, especially based off of the heart space, off of what our soul is asking for us to do. It does kind of feel like we are in a state of magic in a way. We feel like we're in the right place. We feel like, we're understanding what it is that we need to walk away from, what it is that we want to walk kind of closer to. But this water energy is very, very sensitive. So just as we feel empowered and inspired and really kind of focused on one thing that makes us feel good, then the analyzing, the discernment, the funk comes back. It's like waves. Think of water energy, right? All of a sudden, another emotional wave crashes upon us. And then we kind of sort it out. We feel good about it. We feel inspired. And then we start questioning everything until another wave crashes upon us. Either way, it is going to put us more in a situation where we can fine tune our emotions and our intuition on what it is that we need to decide upon, what we need to choose for ourselves, what it is that we need to orient ourselves to. And so just keep in mind that we're kind of in la la land, okay? We're having a hard time articulating what's going on in our inner realm. We're having a hard time sharing those thoughts, those ideas with other people. We're having a hard time understanding them even within ourselves. But there's a huge sense of knowing. There's a huge sense of trusting. And all of that is coming from our heightened sense of intuition at this time. And whether we can make sense of it or can't make sense of it, it is definitely adding to the magic, to the imagination, to the fantasy that we need to have in order to conjure up a reality and a circumstance that we want to actively try to manifest. So the last thing that we have going on here today is at 9:48 p.m., again, Eastern Standard Time. It is the moon in Aries energy, squaring, getting into the boxing ring with the sun in Cancer energy. And this is what gives us our last quarter moon. So a square, we get into the boxing ring, we create tension, we create conflict in order to fight it out. The moon, of course, is our emotions. The sun is the life force energy, the action needed in order to kind of move forward. The moon, typically speaking, represents the past, and the last quarter moon is looking back to the new moon in Gemini that we had a couple of weeks ago, and really just kind of understanding what needs to be sorted out, what needs to be processed, what's staying, what's going, what we're closing the door on, what we're taking with us. And the conflict here, the tension point kind of comes into play because the sun is shining a bright light in this Cancer energy for us to simplify our basic needs, for us to understand what we have to do in order to build a new foundation that is safe and secure and stable, not only for us emotionally speaking, but for ourselves and our physical realms. How are we going to take care of ourselves? How are we going to protect ourselves? How are we going to rely upon ourselves? This is a change in our environment that, literally speaking, comes down to the boundaries that have been tested over these last couple of weeks, where new boundaries need to be created and implemented in order for us to safely and securely provide ourselves with a safe environment for us to grow and heal in. So this wraps up the energy for the day. It is always a little bit of a power struggle, always a little bit of a tension and a conflict with that last quarter moon in Aries, but you best believe that in the coming days, we are going to see the energy, the action, the steps needed for us to actually make some progress, move forward, close the doors on the past, and open up some new doors to the path to the direction of our future.